Hey, what's up, guys? Let's talk about one of my favorite movies, Spider-Man of 2022, starring Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, and Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane. Directed by Sam Raimi, the God Sam Raimi, a greatest director. I love this movie, the story, the soundtrack, very important and forgettable. Spider-Man is special for me. Spider-Man was my my favorite character when I was a kid until now, but just the movie it's a classic. It became uh, the movie is amazing. It became a classic. It released in 2022 when I was 2 years. My parents took me to the movies when I was 2 years old. Obviously, I don't remember nothing. When I turned 5, 6, it became one of my favorite movies, along with the second part. I dressed up as Spider-Man, made drawings, watched the movie over and over again. Greatest actors, characters, and scenes. This movie is also remembered for having many memes. The soundtrack is one of the reason why the soundtrack is one of the reason why of this movie being excellent and remembered and loved. I'm sorry, the movie released in 2002, not 2022. So this movie still a classic 20 years later. So the film is simple about the origin of the character. Basically, it's the story of Peter Parker, high school senior that lives with his uncle Ben and his aunt May, who is at absolute bottom of the social hierarchy in school. Even geeks don't want to sit next to him on the bus. His only friend is Harry Osborn, whose father, Norman Osborn, big tech company called Oscorp. Peter and Harry both crushing on a girl named Mary Jane Watson. The film opening on a field trip where Peter gets bitten by a spider that gives him superhuman strength and reflects the ability to grow walls and shoot webs out of his hands. Peter misuses his power in, in an attempt to win money, and his selfishness causes his murder of his uncle Ben, learning that with great power comes great responsibility. as Peter then becomes the masked hero Spider-Man. Meanwhile, Norman Osborn tests an experimental super serum on himself that turns him into the deranged villain, the Green Goblin. While Peter has to deal with his feelings for MJ, fighting work and fighting the Goblin as Spider-Man. Like I said, I tried to keep that rundown brief, so let's get into it. The first thing that naturally comes to anyone's mind when creating the first live hero is the scene that got my attention the most was the final fight. Forgetting forgetting all the superpowers and supervillain of it all, Spider-Man is an earnest story about responsibility, about growing up, made especially clear in the ending through everything that has happened. Peter learns a really important thing about his being Spider-Man. He has to lead this double life to keep the people he cares about safe. He's not gonna tell Harry about his father being the Goblin because he asked him not to in his dying moments. Peter is just going to have to live with Harry thinking Spider-Man murdered his father, and the biggest of all, Peter decides not to be with Mary Jane when he has the ability to finally do so. This was a really important part of the movie to get right. But back to the ending, that's part of the tragic element of Spider-Man. He's wanted to be with MJ for his whole life, and now he can, but chooses not to because it's safer that way. The lesson he learned seeing the people he cared about but in peril because of Spider-Man in this movie, it's so great. You feel bad that Peter Parker has to sacrifice so much of his personal life for Spider-Man. But he does it because with great power comes great responsibility. So he will continue downing. So he will continue downing the costume and saving the day because it's right. Danny Elfman score capturing this too. So honestly, this movie means a lot to me, in my opinion, and the in my opinion, and that of many. Tobey Maguire is the definitive Spider-Man.